Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some very useful tips that have the potential of transforming your portrait art from looking like this to looking like this in an incredibly short amount of time. Now, even though this is primarily a colored pencil art channel, some of the tips here will also apply to regular pencil art, so stick and stay if you are into graphite art. Before we start, I'd like to say that I believe the best way to learn how to do realistic portrait drawings, or in fact any form of drawing, is not by just reading about it or watching videos alone. I'm sure you're probably thinking the best way is to actually practice. Well, not when you don't know of the basics and what you should actually be practicing in order to improve. You could be practicing wrongly. I believe the best way is a resource that combines all these three in a comprehensive manner. That is why I've put together a well-organized step-by-step ebook called Mastering Realistic Portraits with Colored Pencils. It contains not only text information, which is very important, but also exclusive video links at the end of each section. That way, you can watch a video and have a better understanding of what you just read. It also contains practice exercises to help speed up the learning process. Now, I've been doing colored pencil drawings for many years, and I've seen all the problems beginners usually face when it comes to realism, and that motivated me to put together this ebook. It takes you through everything, literally everything you need to know about realistic portraiture with colored pencils. All the materials you need, the basic techniques and how to actually apply them, how to accurately select colors, how to get an accurate sketch every single time, the right type of paper to use, and many more. I also take you through 2 portraits from start to finish, with of course added video links where you can watch as I do these portraits to help you grasp the concept more easily, all in a well organized and seamless manner. At the end, I provide a portrait exercise which you can take and send to me for critiquing through an email provided in the ebook at no cost at all. So if this sounds like something you're interested in, check out the download link to this ebook in the description below, and I can fully guarantee you are going to see massive improvement in your skill in no time. So the first thing I'd like to talk about is the outline. If you've been following me for a while, then I'm sure you know I place a lot of emphasis on getting an accurate sketch or outline. It is literally the most important part of the entire drawing process in my opinion. There are many ways of doing this, and I've got an entire video explaining this in detail. I'll put a link to it somewhere on this video. The next thing I'd like to talk about is the white of the eye, which, believe it or not, is never really white. It usually has a shade of grey that are darkest at the corners. The eyeball is essentially a sphere. That means some areas are going to draw away from the light source and appear a little darker. The next thing is layering. Always work in layers, moving progressively from the lightest to the darkest layer. Layering helps to build depth, which makes your drawing appear more realistic. Without it, your drawing will appear flat. After layering comes blending, which is essentially a method of merging your layers together in order to create a smooth transition between the layers. Now, this is important as it helps to cover the grain of the paper and create a more realistic looking skin. There are 2 ways of blending: burnishing and using a solvent. When it comes to the skin, I prefer to burnish. Again, I've got an entire video covering this topic, so be sure to check it out. Next one is on the eyebrows. Now, study your references carefully. For most people, you will see the skin underneath the eyebrows. Most beginners just go in and start drawing the eyebrows on a blank piece of paper. To have realistic looking brows, be sure to layer and blend the skin underneath before drawing the brows over. This will create a sense of depth and dramatically improve upon realism. Throughout the drawing process, move in circular or elliptical patterns to avoid having any obvious start and stop areas. This will make the skin appear even, smooth and realistic. Pay attention to the highlights, shadows and midtones. This is what creates the 3D form. The highlights are parts of the drawing that are closest to the light source, and the shadows are the parts that are furthest from the light source, with the midtones being somewhat in between. Look out for subtle details like the creases in the lips. There is usually an area of highlight on both sides of a crease. Don't forget to keep working in layers. Much like the white of the eye, the teeth are never really white. The lips usually cast a shadow on them, and they tend to get even darker at the corners of the mouth. Also, naturally, the adult teeth is not pure white. Here, you can see me blending after layering some peach over the teeth. If you go a bit overboard with your coloring, you can always dial it down with a bit of white. Just like the skin, you also need to work in layers when drawing the hair. Start by shading in the shadows and then the base layer, which is the lightest layer in the area being shaded. After, layer progressively until you get to the darkest layers. After, blend with a solvent to make it look a lot more realistic. If you enjoy this, don't forget to like and subscribe for more tips and tutorials. Again, don't forget to check out Mastering Realistic Portrait with Colored Pencils, which contains in-depth explanations to the tips mentioned in this video. Have a great day and see you in the next one.